Hello, everyone, and you're welcome to another episode of Moments with the Shepherd. I am your gracious host, Tobi. Today, on the episode, we will be talking about something that is peculiar to everybody and to our everyday lives, especially as an adult. If you are an adult, you go to work, or you have a business, this episode will particularly interest you. For many of us, the workplace is where we spend most of our time, or if you go to the market to sell your goods as an entrepreneur or even as a business person in your workplace. Today, we want to see and consider how your faith comes to play at your workplace, whether you are an entrepreneur that does your own business by yourself, or you have a boss that you report to. How do you bring your Christianity to play, and how do you help portray Christ in what you do every day? Today, I'm joined by a business owner who is exemplary in her business values and in her Christian values as well. And she'll be sharing her story on how she has been able to maintain her Christianity in the business world. Today, I'm joined by Sister Tolani, and I'm glad to have her here and to share her story with us. Hi, Sister Tolani.
Hi, Tobi.
Welcome to the show. Very excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
You're welcome. So please give us a brief rundown of yourself, what you do, your type of business, all of that gist.
Okay, my name is Tolani Joshua. I currently run Ashwebi and Souvenirs by Durable. It's a fabric merchandising business that is also into souvenir and gift curating. My background is in accounting, but over a decade ago, I saw the need to step out of the paid employment and stay back for the family, so to say. I'd always said earlier that I started off as an accidental entrepreneur, but I'm fully an entrepreneur now. I say that because I stepped back because I wanted to take care of the home front. But along the line, I could not sit idle, even though I was tending to the family. I needed something. That's how I get fulfilled. I needed to get busy and do something for myself. Basically find purpose. So I started off with fashion designing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I trained, then later I went to the fashion school. And along the line, I switched fully into fabric. Okay. And as a child of God, we should be sensitive of every season in our life. Even as a business owner, we should know what seasons we are, and when such season comes to an end, we should be able to pivot into what God wants us to do at that time. And so I pivoted into fabrics. So I do basically men, women fabrics. I sell in unit and bulk, basically, and I do ashwebi. That's a major part of my business. We basically take the burden of pasty hosts, help them arrange for their fabrics for their guests, so that they could concentrate on other important aspects of their program planning. Then I added gifts, whether it's a landmark birthday, it's a celebration. We basically help you create memories that last long.
Wow, your line of business is actually very interesting because there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of thoughts, and I won't say queries, but it will sound something like that, but we'll get to that shortly in the episode. So you said you were an accidental entrepreneur. How do you mean by that?
Because when I stepped aside from the paid employment, I didn't really have business in mind. I just wanted to focus on the family.
You mean your children?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to focus on starting a family and paying attention and being present. Given the fact that my husband is an auditor and is always not around. So there is a need for somebody to be present and always available. But along the line, I found purpose in entrepreneurship and I went for it.
So would you say your accounting background helped in you becoming an entrepreneur?
It did. And it's still helping me.
Still helping
in
you.
The business, yeah.
Love it. Were you a Christian before you started your business or after?
Sure, I was a Christian before I started my business.
Before you started your business, okay. So you own your business by yourself. You don't have anybody that works with you.
Yeah. Yeah, for now, it's a woman business. Whoever works with me is an adult, somebody that comes, offer the services,
And then they go.
I go.
Considering the nature of the kind of business that you do, I mean, you deal with ashrebi in bulk
Yeah.
and even in units. One would think that it's a business that is like a large scale. How do you compress all of that work with taking care of the family still?
One thing is diligence and the ability to be able to segment your business and also know that the place of the family cannot be overemphasized.
True.
You know, so it's family is the first. You know, so there's really the business doesn't come before the family. So it's structured in such a way that, by the way, it's basically an online business. I do not have a physical store.
Oh, right.
So
that
I'm
makes
able
sense.
to manage it in such a way that it doesn't conflict. Yes, there are times that the pressures and all that, but by the grace of God and with the help of God, I've been able to do it in such a way that one does not affect the other.
Okay. So you said that in your introduction, you mentioned that there comes a time in a Christian's life where you have to be diligent to what God is calling you to be. So would you say that you becoming an ashrebi expert is like God's calling for your life? And how did you decipher that that's what God was calling you to do?
Okay, so there's always a starting point. I didn't start with ashrebi.
Yes.
I mentioned that I started with fashion designing, but at a point I knew that I could be more. So I went into fabrics. I started with unit sale, but along the line, when I did my brother's ashrebi in a particular year, I saw that yes, I could do this as a business, and that was what bettered that part of my business.
Oh, so it was something that led to something, not like you heard from God or something like that.
You know, when the Bible says when the way of a man is pleasing to God, you know, there's a way God always orders your step.
True.
And when you've prayed about, when the idea came, I didn't just jump into it. I prayed about it and I had my peace. And from recommendations from people, I knew I could do it, and I knew God was calling me to this, and I went for it.
Okay. So this fabric business, I know it is capital intensive and also human and labor intensive. So how would you say that you were able to, will I say, raise funds or raise capital for this business, considering that you sort of started small and you didn't start from the onset, yes, with the ashrebi? How were you able to scale the business?
Okay, so I started, it will interest you that I didn't even start with any capital. Yes, there was a day I went to the market to get fabric. It was my husband's birthday, and I just wanted to, I used to make for both male and female. So I wanted to make something nice for him.
Is
so
it ready to wear?
Bespoke, ready to wear then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to make something for him. I went to the male fabric markets. And you know, when I bought the fabric, I spoke to the guy. I said, can I sell this fabric? But maybe you send me pictures. And the guy, I don't know what went into the guy. He just went to his store, brought a catalog. A fabric catalog is not a magazine, so to say. A fabric, that's the different design cut into a particular size that you could showcase to people. And then that was how I started. I took it from him. I came back home. So I started from the church. I showed to people. Those catalogs were numbered. So when they pick what they wanted, I get the money from them. I go back to the market. I buy and I give back to them. So I didn't have to put in capital into that. Over time, from the proceeds, I started buying bit by bit.
Wow.
And when I sell both the capital and the profit, I plow it back into the business.
Wow.
And that was how I was able to build my stock to an extent. And when my husband saw the diligence and saw the determination, he invested in the business. And that's how we have been able to scale to the level where we are now.
Wow, that's a very classical example of what the Bible says about finding grace and favor in the sight of men. There's not a lot of people, particularly in the business world, that would do something like that. would you say there's something that maybe is the person that gave you this platform, is he like your regular customer, or you just met him for the first
That was
time?
the first time I met him. It was not my regular fabric market.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I was doing Ankara before then. You know, it's a male fabric. I just felt like making something for my husband. I made inquiry, went to the market. Until today, I can never forget that man.
Do you still
You
buy
know,
from him?
I still buy from him.
Wow.
The way the business went by the grace of God, it was beyond his own expectation too.
Wow.
So anytime I come, the way he attends to me, I just know that there's a special place in his heart that I owed, because he just looks at me that this is a young lady that just walked into the market, wanted to buy fabric and made just an inquiry. Sometimes when I make posts, I see the way he comments. There was a day he was jesting. I said, you have even taken over the business from us, that we that really do the business don't do it as much as you do. And that's when you find fulfillment in what you're doing. You do it with all your might. And that's one very important attribute that an entrepreneur must have. Be into what you're doing. Put your all into it. Be dedicated to it. Let people know that you are diligent in this. And it will continually speak for you.
I think one key thing I can pick from your story is actually diligence, because from you starting off as a fashion designer to then selling Ankara and then selling male fabrics, then Ashwebi business, and then you starting with literally zero capital to growing your business to what it is, that's diligence on like a big scale. And I think that's really impressive. You've
Thank
done
you.
so well. I'm very inspired. Very, very inspired. If there's one thing that you think the people that you buy from, your merchants or your clients that you sell to, will describe you as, what's that word that you think they will use to describe you, aside from diligent?
My integrity. You know, over time, I had goodwill from them, so they could release product to me and I could pay at a specific time. There is one thing I do not joke with. If I had told them I was going to pay in 2 weeks, even if I had not sold those goods, I would look for the money and ensure I pay. So that has saved my name with them. So when I tell them jump, they literally fly because they can take me by my words.
Wow. There's not a lot of business people that have that integrity in them. I mean, there's examples of people, will I say traders, for example, that regardless of whether they are Christians or not, or whether they are believers, they patch up things. Like, for example, the that bowl that they used to sell rice, that plastic one, some will melt it, or they'll cut it somewhere just so that they can make
more profit. You know, it's easier. More profit dangled at you is easier to jump at. But at the end of the day, your faith plays a big role. I am a Christian, and I believe that I'm an apostle in the marketplace. And whatever I do, I must represent Christ. We must bear in mind that it's less of what we say, but more of what we do.
Right.
People are constantly reading us, watching our postures, and looking at what we're doing. And that way, even when you are not there and they have to describe you, they would describe the very person you are without mixing words, because they know you for who you are.
Wow, I'm actually very inspired, and I'm almost speechless at this point in the podcast, because I am very, very inspired. There's not a lot of business people that you meet, regardless of what they do, whether they are Christians, they will tell you, oh, there's something that they do, they have to give to Caesar what is Caesar's, whether it's right or wrong, or they have to, I don't know about fabrics, but for some people, if they tell you 1 yard, you probably meet 1 and a quarter or something.
Yeah, then recently I did an ashwebi for a group of people. They were choirs. They wanted to use it for one of the anniversaries. And they went for the lower quality because they couldn't afford the usual quality. And I had to state ahead of time that this fabric comes in 31.3 inches or thereabout, compared to the 36 inches that the normal 1 yard comes in. I did a voice note to that lady, Apparently, she just listened to the beginning, she didn't listen to the end. So when she reached out to me after I had supplied and said, the fabric was nice, they all loved it, except that it was not up to 36. I just went straight to that voice note and I pointed her to it. You know, when she listened to it and she said, I'm so sorry, I didn't listen to this to the end. You know, I felt really better, because if I had not stated it ahead of time, even though it wasn't my fault, I didn't produce those fabrics, but because they were lesser in quality, she knows, but she would feel that maybe I did something in there. But the fact that I had stated it ahead of time, even though she didn't pay attention to it, I was able to point her back to it. You know, so that brings us to, we should be as open as possible and explicit enough. If you know something that you know that would bring a kind of distrust at the end of the day, state it. If they are okay by it, they will go ahead. If they are not, they will tell you, oh no, I want the better quality, because this is what we want to use and it might not serve the purpose. So at the end of the day, your integrity is very important as a business owner.
That brings me back to something that someone always says. I don't know if it's someone or is a popular thought, that integrity is either 0 or 100. You either have it or you don't have it at all. And it's actually nice to see it play out in your business, because one thing that's constant in what your merchants have said and what your clients have also said is that you have integrity. So has there ever been a situation where you've had to make a compromise that would dent like your Christian beliefs? So let me give an example before you answer the question. So you're in the Ashwebi fabric business. There's people that would want to, let's say someone is getting married now, and then the person that is sent, maybe the event planner or something, that is sent to source the Ashwebi, let's say you are giving out 5 yards at say 20,000. But the event planner says, you know what, we could make more money from this thing. Tell them it's 30K, and then we'll share the 10,000 on each of the 5 yards that you sell. Has there ever been a situation like that, and how did you handle it?
The one that comes to mind readily is there's a family I did an Ashwebi business for, and usually for the male fabrics that we sell, the senator, the cashmere, always comes, the 4 yards of that fabric is almost an equivalent of 6 years of Ankara. So when their guests were requesting for 5 or 6 years, I had educated, before then, the way we run the Ashwebi is this. I deal directly with the family, not with the event planner, most times. And you know, I've offered my pricing, but because they don't want to have any interference with any of their guests, I sort everything. So what is done is, this is the amount they want to sell their fabric to their guests, so that they could factor in the gifts and other costs. So I've given the price, and of course it can't be that exact price that they'll give to their guests.
Yes.
So whatever comes out at the end of the day, I return, because they pay directly to me. So we reconcile and move the amount back.
Do you relate directly with the family regardless of if they have an event planner or not?
Yes, if they have an event planner, then the event planner becomes the person that stands in for them like their representative.
Okay.
But I don't think I've ever had that. You know that there's something about when people know who you are, maybe not directly or somebody has told them. There are some things they won't present to you because they know what you stand for. They will not. So the instance I was trying to make reference to was, so we decided to do 4 years instead of 5 years that all their guests paid for. I had earlier told their representative to communicate to them that it's coming in 4 years. Apparently some of them were not aware. So when they reached out to me and they were throwing tantrum, hey, you cheated us and all that, I just immediately told them, this is what the family wanted. They were aware. They were carried along. So please relate back to them. And so that way, I was completely out of the picture. Though the woman was still not happy, but at the end of the day, it was obvious that it wasn't my own doing. It was what the hosts of the event wanted. And I don't think I was the one that compromised. Maybe she should have related to them that it's coming in 4 years. But it was boldly written in the notice that they usually sent to them that for men 4 years, for the Agbada 8 years. It still boils down to paying attention to whatever instructions.
That's true. Paying attention actually makes a lot of difference, because this is like the second instance that you give in where your clients were not paying attention and it could have turned sideways really quickly. They could have said, oh, this person was not being upfront or being truthful,
Being honest.
but they were the ones that were not paying attention. On the issue of integrity and not taking money that does not belong to you. So I was watching I think it was a clip I just saw online of Funke Bokno, the owner of Zafaya event.
Okay.
And then she said there was a person that they did an event for, and the person had paid and everything, and they had to make a refund of 50 million naira. And everybody's like, what do you mean 50 million naira? And then she said she called the person's friends, and they said, oh, like, even if you return this person is not going to feel the money. But then she said that there's no how she will eat 50 million naira
And she will have peace.
and they will not catch her.
And she would even have peace with herself.
There's people that will have peace.
Oh my goodness.
They will tell you, do you know what 50 million naira will do for me? Or maybe not the entire 50 million, but at least they will take some out of it. So it's very refreshing to see examples of people that still have that integrity, whether in your small scale business, she runs a multi-million naira dollar empire, events management. So she has examples of probably people that maybe overpaid or underpaid, and she has a lot of these examples. But the fact that she was able to refund 50 million, I think is a lot.
Yes. you know one thing is, if you are faithful at little things,
Right.
little, no matter how mundane, nothing. There is nothing that anybody can flash at you that would, provided you have your core values and you stand by it, no matter what. So it starts with little. I'm sure Funke Bokno did not get there in one day.
Yes, definitely.
She started being faithful with little, and it's really important. It's because it's big money that we are aware.
Yes.
How many little things like that you know? I'll give you an instance. I put in for a scholarship at the Lagos Business School, and I had scaled through, except when during the final interview, and I discovered that my age had exceeded the age limit, and the organizer said I should go and swear an affidavit. And I was taken aback, because those are people that you expected to uphold the values of integrity and honesty. But you know what? It's a very big opportunity that would have meant a lot to me, but I couldn't do it. I could not. And I let it go. But God has opened better doors to me. So if we understand that when the devil tried to trick us with little things, he has seen the bigger picture ahead. And that's what he wants to rob you of. So if we are wise enough and we are well grounded in our faith, we'll be able to recognize that this is a bait from the devil.
That's really profound, because being faithful in little also boils down to like your personal life. What are the core values that you have, like you mentioned? There's people that even in the corner of their room, there's nothing they cannot accept as long as it's coated or wrapped in a lot of money. And money is the influencing factor that is leading people into a lot of things. Because if, let's say that as an entrepreneur now, you're selling fabrics, and then someone comes and says they want to buy 50 pieces, but they don't want the person that they are sending it to know that it is 50, so remove maybe like one yard. There's people that, what am I even saying? There's fashion designers that you give your fabrics to,
And they sew the rest for themselves,
for their children. I'm like, wait, what is happening? Why are you sewing this for your child? My mom gave her 6-yard fabric to one tailor one time, and she was shocked at what the tailor made. Like, is this 6 yards? And the woman said yes. This woman is a Christian. She knows her church. My mom knows the woman's church. In fact, it was her church member that referred her to my mom. And then one day, my mom was just passing by randomly, and she saw like almost 1 yard of her fabric on the woman's table. She said she just told one of the girls, bring my clothes for me. So if you as a Christian, you are seeing that, how much more unbelievers that are like, and you're inviting me to your church?
So at the end of the day, as an employer or an entrepreneur, you have people that work for you, or you have businesses that you offer services to, and especially people from the other faiths. How do you then minister to them? It's more of deliberately living out your faith than forcing people to conform.
True.
You deliberately living out your faith, and is visible to the blind and audible to the deaf that this person, she will never.
Have you had situations where you've had to work with unbelievers? There's people that if they work with you, they want to force their faith down your throat.
Yeah.
So have you had a situation where you had to work with people like that without having to preach to them, but they caught on one or two things about your
Of course,
personality?
yes, especially in the marketplace. When you go to the market, there are different type of people. There are even idol worshippers, people that they worship detestable things that you cannot even imagine. We're not even talking about the Muslims or the people that they bow to things that you can imagine. But having interfered with you and having had relationship with you over time, one or two things, they catch one or two things. There's a Muslim man that comes to repair things in my house. Each time he comes, one day he had to say that anytime he comes to the house, he always catches one thing or the other from me that he learns. And that's what Christianity is all about. Is your way of life. It's not what you are called. It's your everyday lifestyle. What you do, irrespective of people's religion, their gender. At the end of the day, you don't isolate, you don't segregate that, oh, this is my Christian sister, so you treat them better than you treat people from the other faith. Then how do we then win them over? I know that they might not have converted, but all these things keep dropping. There will be a day it will form a tangible thing in their life. So you just keep at it. Continue to maintain your faith, not just in your words, but in your everyday life, the way you relate with people, the way you run your business. Some Christians will say, when it comes to my business, just remove Jesus. People with their full chest tell you that don't even bring that here. But anything that I cannot bring my faith into, I'm out.
Wow. So you mentioned that we're in Nigeria, we're in Africa, and like you mentioned, there's, aside from idol worshippers, there's also other things worshippers.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you go to maybe like say Eco Market, for example, and there's different things, different spiritual things. Have you ever had maybe any encounter with any of these people, or maybe someone has done something, or you've mistakenly walked into the shop of, well, let's not say mistakenly, but have you walked into the shop of someone that maybe worships an idol? Have you purchased from them or something?
Well, some of them is not boldly written in their shops, but you know that the Spirit of God in you will always help you to discern things, and that's why it's important for Christians to stay in fellowship with God. Before you leave your house, you are prayed. Before you start your day, commit your ways into the hands of God. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your hearts. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your way prosperous. In making your way prosperous, He also averts evil from your way. And there are places you step to and your spirit just tells you can't be here. That Spirit of God in you just makes you uncomfortable in such a way that you can't stay there. And the next thing is, you just find your way out. Some of them will revolt because they know they are not ordinary. They know that you have come and there's something in you that is trying to
There's
prevent.
a shift in the atmosphere.
So sometimes they revolt, but you don't pay attention. You immediately exit that environment. Yes, it has happened because, like I said, in the market, there are so many things in the market. There are so many things in the market, and that's why it's important for you to constantly dwell in the Word of God, be in fellowship with God, be in tune with the Holy Spirit, because He is truly our guide.
So I wouldn't ask you to advise people that have a business, because all that you have said is enough advice, and if they cannot catch anything, then I don't know what else you want to tell them that they've already not heard, right? But has there ever been a time that you've had to relate with a Christian, a fellow Christian like yours, in your business, and they have displayed an attitude that is so ungodly that you almost cannot believe it?
Yes.
Can you give us a story? Can you give us a story?
Do I really want to share this story?
We'll keep them anonymous, don't worry.
Okay, so sometimes it's not even business. Maybe it's in fellowship, like business fellowships, and you have to transact. Okay, for instance, I'm in Shepherd Hill. You know that I run Ashwebi. Maybe the choir wants to get a uniform, and I'm helping out, not really as a business, but because that's my area of expertise. I want to help her to source the fabric and all that. And it went wrong. I'll give an instance. I recently got an Ashoke deal, and usually I source from Ilorin. And this guy has been working for me, but unfortunately this time around it went bad. He kept posting, I collected people's money, people that have promised that it will be delivered at so date, and it was beginning to affect my image. So I took a trip to Ilorin, met the guy, people intervened, he promised they were going to do it. Long and short, the guy didn't deliver.
Yikes.
He's nowhere to be found. Left home, blocked all my contacts. He probably threw that SIM away. I had to make a refund to this group. And wow. No, not the group, because it was 2 jobs I got. A sister in that same group gave me a job. She's a fashion designer. She had a birthday shoot for somebody. I got the job. Then, when we saw that things were not working out, I was able to manage communications with the leaders. I was part of the wardrobe committee. I managed communication with the leaders, so we swinged into action. So somebody volunteered that we should get an alternative without asking people to pay more. So she volunteered a particular amount. We went back to the market, bought something, because the day of the event was very close, something that could easily be used to remedy the situation. And we did that, not asking people to pay extra money. Later, the guy supplied the Ashoke, not in full, but at least everybody got, except for, I was also part of that group, except for myself and the other lady that gave me the other job. She didn't fret, she didn't bother. We gave out those fabrics that we bought without asking them to pay a dime. Then we also gave the Ashoke that was initially paid for.
The same guy that ran away with the
Yes,
Ashoke money.
he later sent part of it, but the other job for the other lady, he didn't complete it. The debt in that thing ran into about 300. I refunded part of the money to the lady. 2 instances now. The other lady was not perturbed. She was not disturbed.
She was a Christian?
She's a Christian. We're in the fellowship together.
Oh.
She was so concerned about my mental health, knowing all the trauma I had been through and all that. Our money was not even a concern. Our client was not a concern. She was just, are you okay? Are you fine? I had refunded what I could refund. She saw how she could also remedy the situation. So at the end of the day, there's a particular person that paid for maybe 1 bundle and a half. She didn't get the half bundle. And I'd explained how much I had lost in the course of... this lady said I was going to refund her money.
She paid for 1.5.
And
she got 1.
And she got 1. Plus the other fabric that we bought, which was even more than the value of what they paid for. And we didn't ask them to pay anything. Myself and other people in the wardrobe committee sorted the cost of that. We didn't ask. Other people were asking me, let's pay something. How can we collect what and not pay? This lady had the nerve to tell me that, okay, let's assume that the cost of the half was 7,005. You take 5,000 and refund me to 5. I thought it was a joke. She escalated it to our superiors in the fellowship that we had to call a meeting. People were livid that, are you for real? And I made a statement when I called. I said, really? I thought you're supposed to be my Christian sister. A friend of the family. So sometimes that's why I made mention of, it's not what you say, is what we see you live. You know, that's affected the relationship. I'd moved on. I don't have anything against, but you know, there's a place of loving people from afar, even though you're a Christian. So they don't, because your value differs. So they don't continue to affect your mental health. You just have to let them go and love them from afar. So that's why you notice the yes was very sharp.
Wow.
Yes. Christians are like that. Yes, along the line, she came back to her realization. That was after people have tried to let her know that this thing you have done is all shades of wrong. But as a child of God, you were not concerned that I had lost a lot of money, that you have collected what you didn't even pay for, and you were talking about you cannot incur that loss. Where is the loss?
Understanding that it was not your fault. She paid for one and a half.
I took her through the history of how all these things went, how I had to travel, how much money I had lost.
Damn.
Meanwhile, on the other side was somebody that lost a lot of money but was still, oh, are you fine? Are you okay? She was just so concerned about my mental health. She was not ruffled. She had to also pay part of the debt. But she felt that those are part of some of the things that happen in business. And she let go.
Would you do business with her again?
Which of them? There are two people involved here. Which of them?
The one that was on your neck.
Well, I don't think I will. Because, you know, there are things people show you that you know that no.
You can never work with this person again.
I can't. And maybe that is God saving you from a more terrible
true
incident.
Because if it was something that was worth more than what it was, you would
drag me.
Yeah, and if it's something you could get in land in jail for, you could probably meet yourself in
you know, these are
Kirikiri.
people that could make other people suicidal. I'm sorry to use that word. Because what that did to my mental health, I couldn't phantom it. Knowing that this is also a friend of the family, not just that we met, and a Christian.
Wow. I mean, that has shown
some
you
things that people in other faiths will never do to you. I've had businesses with people of the other faiths, and I've seen the way they have done things. They don't want anything that will stain their name. There are people like that. Muslims, they don't want anything that will stain their name. They just want to do their business clean. And
it's very almost difficult now to find business owners that have integrity. And they say that, oh, are you not seeing the economy? The economy is bad. You have to take advantage. And I'm like,
how long would that advantage last year?
Like, actually, even no. Like, what do you mean by you not seeing the economy? So because something is going wrong, you should now go against what God says that you should not do. And who is more important, the economy or God?
It's just like when I was still sewing, there are some styles I will not sew for you. Honestly. People will say, you're not ready for business, blah, blah, blah. Because I will be an enabler. That's what my own conscience tells me, that you're an enabler. So, yes, I know that for some people, they'll look at her and say, what's she saying? It's fine.
Yeah, actually, I can I can understand that. I can understand that, but that's actually another perspective. You not being an enabler in whatever industry that you found yourself. Yes. This has been an amazing episode. And I think it's even more interesting because you deal with Ashwebi, and that is something that is like a hot topic right now.
Exactly.
Everybody trying to cut corners with Ashwebi. They'll tell you it's 5 years, but you go and measure and it's 4.5. or they'll tell you it's 50K. You go to the market and the original price is actually 15K. People just
that was why I said earlier that the price, I don't fix the price. I fix my own price that I'm offering to the party hosts or probably the representative. And once I've done that, if I'm supposed to supply, there's a service charge that I attach to it. I will deliver to people and all that, the cost of packaging and all that. I would add that, and that's what comes to me. At the end of the day, they might decide that, oh, the total package that is coming from you is 35,000. We want to sell at 70,000. The thing is, my details is what they supply to them. Because one other thing that informed this my Ashwebi business was one experience I had. When I was going to get married in 2010, I was still working. I did a job. I said I was not going to do Ashwebi. My friends pushed me. I used my job money to go and buy Ashwebi. There are people that did not pay me till tomorrow because I was the one distributing to them. So I decided that, okay, let me be a forefront for people. You can't come to me, I don't know you. You will pay. That's the only thing that will make me give you the Ashwebi. And when you go and meet they say, I'm not involved. They'll go and meet the Ashwebi consultant. So it has saved a lot of people from people buying from them and not paying and having enemies as a result of Ashwebi because they didn't pay their money.
Party. Yeah. Because of party, you start having enemies and people that will not pay. And you too, please, when you buy Ashwebi, please pay. They did not steal it from the market. The fabric people, they did not give it to them for free.
That advice is even if they are buying directly from the people that still go all out, they want to buy and supply. That's why we exist, to take the burden completely off you and save you from that mess, because it's just like you contracted something to somebody.
Yes.
You will pay. Is either you pay or you don't have it. So that's why the Ashwebi consultancy comes in. It's a plus for the party. It's even lessen their burden.
Stress, yes. Because
so you are able to concentrate on other important aspects of your party planning. That's if at all you are the one planning it. Even if you are not the one directly planning it, the headache of so person have not been supplied is not your business.
Yes, or so person has not paid and then chasing them to make payments.
Or this person collected their Ashwebi after 5 years, you are still asking, where's my money? These things happen for real.
Your first child is already 5 years and you're still chasing people for Ashwebi money. That's not very Christian-like, and it's not nice. But this has been a very, very interesting episode. I love the fact that we're just talking and there's so many things to pick from your story, from your business. There's actually still so many questions I want to ask you, but maybe we'll bring you back another time so that we'll have this conversation again. But thank you so much for coming onto this episode. And to our viewers at home, I hope that you've been able to learn, I won't say one or two things because there's a lot of things to pick from her story and from her business hustle. So I know that, yes, you can by now understand that you can show your faith in whatever field that God has called you into, whether it's Monday in the boardroom or a random Tuesday or Thursday in a co-market. You can show to people that, yes, you're a Christian, you're a believer, and you stand by your faith and you have integrity, because integrity is zero or nothing. Again, my name is Tobi. Thank you so much for joining us on Moments with the Shepherd, and thank you so much, Mr. Tolani, for coming on this episode. And I hope that we'll see you on the next episode. And till then, keep being with the Shepherd. Bye.